Ladies and gentlemen, today I ask you to set aside everything you believe about time, effort, and money. Forget what the world has told you about success being something you must chase, earn, or struggle for. Forget the formulas, the blueprints, and the so-called rules. They have their place, but they are not first cause. What if I told you that becoming a millionaire has nothing to do with your job, your education, your past, or even your current bank balance? What if I told you that the key lies not in your hands, but in your imagination? This is not wishful thinking. It is a law, a principle as dependable as gravity, operating quietly behind every fortune, every breakthrough, and every transformation you have ever admired. You are about to discover that wealth is not something to be achieved, it is something to be assumed. And if you can hold that assumption, live from it, breathe through it, walk in it, not for a lifetime, but just for the next 30 days. You will be a millionaire in 1 month. Everything you see around you, every building, every invention, every system of wealth, began not in the physical world, but in the invisible realm of thought. Imagination is the first cause of all creation. It is not a weak form of fantasy. It is the workshop of reality itself. The chair you sit on, the phone in your hand, the very clothes you wear were once imagined by someone who dared to believe that their inner image had power. That someone may have had no resources at the time, no evidence that their vision could take form, but their sustained inner focus made it so. When it comes to money, most people make the mistake of believing that circumstances are the source. They say, I need the right job, or I need capital to start, or I need someone to believe in me. But these are effects, not causes. The true source is within. Your consciousness of wealth or poverty determines what you experience. The numbers in your bank account today are merely a reflection of past states of belief. Change those inner states, and the outer world must conform. Imagination, when combined with belief, is the most creative force in existence. To imagine yourself as already wealthy, already successful, already possessing the freedom and comfort of financial abundance is not delusion. It is alignment. Your subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts your inner assumptions as facts and begins to reorganize your world accordingly. This is not a metaphor, this is law. But most people misuse their imagination. They worry, they rehearse failure. They dwell in limitation, imagining what could go wrong, and then are surprised when life confirms it. They say, I knew it wouldn't work. Of course, they rehearsed that outcome with faith and emotional certainty. Imagination was doing its job. They simply misused it. To become a millionaire in 1 month, you must begin with this understanding. The power is not out there, it is in you. You must withdraw your attention from what currently is and redirect it to what you choose to be. This does not mean ignoring bills or pretending your debts don't exist. It means no longer worshiping them as truth. The truth is what you dare to assume and persist in. Begin now. Imagine a life of freedom, luxury, and abundance. Feel it, occupy it. Make it so vivid that it becomes more real to you than your current surroundings. Walk in that inner world with confidence and joy. This is the seed. The outer results will be the harvest. Imagination creates reality, not eventually, but immediately in consciousness, and consciousness is always expressing itself. The question is, what are you imagining right now? Because that, and only that, is what determines what comes next. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled is to place yourself mentally and emotionally in the state of your desired reality, as if it is already done. This is not about pretending or lying to yourself. It is about entering into a deeper truth, one that exists beyond what the senses report. Your external world is not the final truth. It is merely a projection of what you have consistently accepted within. So, if you desire to become a millionaire, the task is not to strive toward the goal with desperation, but to assume its fulfillment now. That assumption, once truly felt and sustained, reshapes the very structure of your reality. Most people live in a constant state of wanting, and that state reinforces itself. To say, "I want to be rich," is to affirm that you are not. The subconscious hears only the state behind the words. If you live from the place of lack, you energize lack. If you live from the place of wealth, even in imagination, you energize abundance. This is not wishful thinking. This is creation in its purest form. To assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you must go beyond thought into experience. It is not enough to say, "I will be wealthy." You must ask, what would it feel like if I were already wealthy? Would you walk differently? Speak differently. Think with more calm and confidence. Would your breathing change? Would you feel secure, at ease, powerful, free? That is the state you must enter, not later, but now. Close your eyes and picture a moment from your wealthy life. Not in the future, but in the present. Perhaps you're walking into your home, designed just the way you love it. Or perhaps you're sending money to help a loved one, knowing you have more than enough. Feel the texture of that moment. Smell the air, hear the sounds, observe the way you carry yourself. Dwell in it until it feels natural, until it begins to feel like you. That feeling is the secret key. The subconscious mind is moved not by effort, but by feeling. It takes what you feel to be true and brings it to life in the physical world through people, events, and seemingly random opportunities. But there is nothing random about it. It is your own inner state coming into visibility. The only requirement is persistence. Many will assume the feeling for a day, even a week, but then look at the world for confirmation. And when none arrives immediately, they retreat into doubt. The truth is, the world always lags behind consciousness. What you accept inwardly with full emotional conviction will harden into fact if you do not abandon it. So live from your wish fulfilled, not just when it's easy, but especially when it seems impossible. That is when the soil is richest. Assume the feeling, dwell in the state, and remain faithful to it. The outer world will follow because it must. Persistence in assumption is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between the imagined and the actual. It is not enough to have a vivid mental picture or a momentary emotional high. You must remain loyal to the state you have chosen, even when appearances suggest otherwise. This is where most people falter. They begin with enthusiasm, full of faith in their vision, but the moment circumstances fail to reflect the change, they revert to their old beliefs. The transformation of life does not come from a single act of imagination, but from the sustained, unwavering assumption of your desired state. You cannot plant a seed today and dig it up tomorrow expecting it to have borne fruit. The same principle applies here. Once you have assumed the feeling of being a millionaire, your task is to persist in that assumption. No matter what your bank account shows, no matter what others say, no matter what fears arise, you must remain faithful to the invisible truth, even while the visible still seems unchanged. Persistence is not force. It is not about trying harder or struggling. It is the quiet, steady conviction that what you have accepted within must take form without. It is the inner knowing that the law is unfailing, and that the only way it could not work is if you abandon the state too soon. This is why discipline of mind is so crucial. Not discipline in the traditional sense of effort and resistance, but in the sense of remaining conscious of what you are imagining and feeling throughout the day. Every moment offers a choice. Do I remain in the state of my wish fulfilled, or do I fall back into worry, doubt, and lack? Each time you catch yourself slipping, gently return to the feeling of the fulfilled desire. Do not scold yourself. Simply re-enter the state. Imagine again, feel again. Confirm within yourself that it is already done. There will be days when nothing seems to move, days when the outer world appears to contradict your inner vision. These are not signs of failure. They are tests of your persistence. Your assumption is being challenged not to weaken you, but to strengthen your resolve. Each time you choose faith over fear, vision over visible, you reinforce the bridge between the inner and outer world. Think of your assumption as a frequency. To persist is to remain tuned to that frequency, even when there's static or interference. Eventually, the signal becomes clear, and the world echoes it back to you in unmistakable ways. So persist, not with anxious effort, but with calm certainty. Return again and again to the state of the fulfilled desire, and occupy it as often and as deeply as you can. That state will begin to feel more natural than your past self-image. And when it does, when the new state becomes your dwelling place, your world will reshape itself to reflect it. Persistence is the price, but the reward is inevitable. The present moment is the only point of power you will ever have. Not tomorrow, not someday, not in the distant future. Now, all transformation begins and ends in this one eternal instant. When you say, "I will be a millionaire," you unknowingly push the state further away. You place it always in the future, always out of reach, always dependent on time. But time is not the creative force. Consciousness is, and consciousness only operates now. To become what you desire, you must claim it as already true in the present moment. The words "I am" are among the most powerful you can ever speak, because they are statements of being. When you say, "I am wealthy," even if your senses contradict it, you are claiming identity, and identity shapes reality. The outer world is always trying to reflect back to you who you believe you are. Not who you want to be, not who you pretend to be, but who you deeply, silently assume yourself to be now. This is why waiting is a trap. So many postpone their power by saying, "Once I get the money, then I'll feel confident, then I'll be generous, then I'll relax." But this is backwards. You must feel confident now, act generously now, live with ease now. The millionaire version of you is not waiting. It is already within you, waiting to be expressed. When you inhabit the present as if your desire is already real, something subtle but profound begins to happen. Your thoughts align with your new identity. Your emotions shift. Your decisions change. You begin to carry yourself differently, think more boldly, speak with more authority, not as performance, but as a natural extension of who you have decided to be. This shift does not require external proof to begin. It requires only your inner acceptance. The subconscious mind only responds to present, tense belief. It does not recognize future tense promises or vague hopes. It responds to what you feel is true now. That is why affirmations, if repeated with emotional conviction in the present tense, can reshape your reality over time. But they must not be empty words. They must carry the weight of belief, the tone of embodiment. To live from the end means to think from your goal, not of it. When you think of something, you keep it separate from yourself. But when you think from it, you merge with it. You begin to operate as if it is already your reality. And when that inner state becomes your norm, the outer world must eventually comply. So return to the present moment often. Catch yourself when you drift into someday thinking. Pull your awareness back to the now and declare, silently or aloud, "I am already that which I desire to be." Let this present, tense truth become your anchor, your posture, your home, for it is in this moment and no other that all wealth is born. Your relationship with money, What you think it is, how you feel about it, what you believe it can or cannot do is not fixed. It is shaped by memory, by emotion, by repeated thought. And because it is shaped, it can be reshaped. If you have struggled financially, if you have experienced loss, failure, or limitation, understand this. Those events do not define you. They are not the truth of who you are. They are reflections of a past consciousness, and like all reflections, they can change when the original image changes. The past is not a prison unless you continue to carry it into the present. To become a millionaire, or anything else, you must first revise how you see yourself in relation to money. This means going back, not to relive old wounds, but to reinterpret them through a new lens. What you once saw as failure, you must now see as preparation. What felt like rejection, you must now reframe as redirection. What appeared to be lack must be recast in your imagination as a necessary contrast, a stage that made you more aware of your inner creative power. Every night before sleep you are offered a doorway, a moment when the conscious mind gives way to the subconscious. This is the perfect time to revise. Think back to a moment in your financial life that carries emotional weight. Perhaps you lost an opportunity, made a mistake, or were made to feel small or incapable. Instead of replaying the old outcome, imagine it ending differently. Hear the words you wanted to hear. Feel the success you wished had happened. Experience it not as a distant fantasy, but as something that truly occurred. Your subconscious does not distinguish between what happened in the outer world and what you vividly experience within. When you revise a memory with conviction and emotion, you alter the impression it left behind, and thus you alter the state it continues to create. You free yourself from the emotional gravity of old identities. You dissolve the patterns that kept recreating the same circumstances. Wealth is not only about strategy or work. It is about identity. You cannot become rich while still feeling like a failure. You cannot attract abundance while secretly believing you are undeserving. Revision is how you clean the lens through which you view yourself. It is how you remove the weight of past beliefs so that your new assumption can rise and take root. This work is not about denial, it's about healing. It's about reclaiming your authorship. You are not a victim of circumstance. You are the writer, the actor, the director of your inner life, and the world simply plays along. So revise, not only to feel better, but to create better. Rewrite the past in your imagination, and the future will fall into harmony. Because in the realm of consciousness, there is no fixed history, only the story you continue to tell. The world you experience is nothing more than your own assumptions made visible. Everything you encounter, people, events, opportunities, setbacks, is a mirror reflecting the content of your inner state. Your beliefs, your self-image, your expectations, and your most persistent thoughts all express themselves outwardly through circumstances. This is not metaphor, it is principle. Your life, as it unfolds, is yourself pushed out. Many struggle to accept this idea because they are so accustomed to seeing life as happening to them rather than through them. But once you understand that your outer world is not a separate force, but a reflection of your inner world, you reclaim a level of responsibility, and with it immense power. No longer are you at the mercy of conditions. You are the cause of them. You are the origin point of every chain of events that unfolds around you. If you find yourself in lack, the answer is not to blame the economy, or the government, or other people. It is not to push harder or hustle more. The answer is to look within and ask, what am I assuming about myself and life that keeps producing this? And then, with honesty and discipline, begin to change that assumption. Imagine a person who constantly says, nothing ever works out for me. Even if they take bold action, Even if they follow the best advice, they will find failure repeating itself, not because of the world, but because of the unspoken belief driving every decision. Now imagine someone who says, "Everything always works in my favor." Even when difficulties arise, their inner posture draws out solutions, favor, and breakthrough. Why? Because the world mirrors their internal self-concept. To become a millionaire, you must begin to see yourself as one. Not someday, but now. Carry the posture of wealth. Think from the perspective of someone who already has what they desire. This isn't about pretending. It's about shifting identity. Your outer world is malleable, shaped by the energy and beliefs you radiate. The more natural your new assumption feels, the faster the world aligns with it. And remember, others in your life will reflect this shift too. People will start to respond to you differently. Opportunities will show up seemingly out of nowhere. Resources will begin to flow, not because life suddenly decided to favor you, but because you decided to favor yourself. You became the person for whom success is normal, and so it became. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. You are always experiencing your own consciousness. Change it, and the world cannot help but change with it. What you see out there is only ever showing you who you are in here. So if you want different results, start by becoming different within. Speak as the wealthy speak, think as the wealthy think, feel as the wealthy feel, and soon the mirror of life will reflect that new truth back to you. Now you have seen the truth, piece by piece, each principle leading you not outward but inward. The path to becoming a millionaire in 1 month is not found in circumstance, opportunity, or effort alone. It is found in the invisible workshop of your imagination, your assumptions, and your persistent inner state. You do not become rich by chasing money. You become rich by accepting wealth as already yours in consciousness. You do not wait for the world to approve of your vision. You live from it now. You assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and you persist, even when nothing outside has changed yet, because you know it must change. It is law. You revise the past to free yourself from its hold. You claim the present moment as the only true creative power. You remember again and again that the world is your mirror, faithfully reflecting what you are being, not what you are wanting. And so the question is not, will it happen? The question is, will I remain faithful to the state I have chosen? Because if you do, if you dare to believe in the reality of your unseen assumption and dwell in it with conviction for just 30 days, life will conform. The million is not the goal, you are. The wealth is not the reward. Awakening to your power is. So walk now in your new identity. Let the inner shift become the only reality you acknowledge. Let your speech, your posture, your emotions reflect the truth. I am already all that I desire to be. And when the world catches up, and it will, do not be surprised, simply smile knowing you created it all from within.